Hello, friends. Welcome to your motivational Gen Z and Millennial Expert podcast. I am your host. My name is Dr. Jason Wiggins, and it is great to be here. So thank you very much for listening wherever you may be. This is a weekly podcast that we usually broadcast each and every Saturday. So look forward on Saturdays in most cases. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. And we have a terrific show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about things that will kind of transcend and reflect upon what we talked about in episode 165. And that's overcoming barriers and overcoming, the opportunity when there's issues with discipline and really promoting your self-awareness. And so today we're going to talk about, being able to look at yourself and finding that self-discovery, meaning finding the view that you have through a lens that enables you to create and enable yourself to succeed. And that starts with viewing your life through the lens of a child. So today we're going to talk about what I consider superhero traits. When we talk about superhero traits, we are talking about the scope of everything that you do, and when you really push yourself and push back the barriers and really demonstrate confidence in your life. Superhero traits do not have anything to do with being able to have unlimited strength, unlimited money, unlimited resources. Superhero traits are about being able to take what you have and expanding the ability to create more for yourself, more for your family, to be able to progress at work, to be able to succeed in new things. One of the things that I have learned in my first 50 years is I don't know what I don't know. And I am okay with that because at the end, we are human, but we have to push ourselves into that superhuman trait. And what is that exactly? Well, it's a combination of a lot of things. And for us as individuals, we all have things that we do well and things we don't do well. But superhuman traits, for me, are progressing on the things you don't do well. Why? Because as humans, what we look at is we want to see what we do well and we want to expand on that. We want to show and demonstrate that we're very good at this one thing. And everybody else will say, "Oh, you're so good at this. You're so good at that." But what they don't realize is something maybe you're not very good at, and you just continue to work on that craft. And that is what I would consider a superhuman trait. For example, today I woke up early, probably 5:30 in the morning, and I decided I was going to go play basketball at the local gym. Again, the folks at the local gym, they're probably in their 20s, maybe pushing 30-ish. And then there's me, the Gen X at 50 years old. And I have continued to try to shoot the basketball better, improve my skills, be a better teammate, not take every single shot. It's about distributing the ball because I realize that my limitation is I'm not going to be the top scorer on the team if we want to win. So what I would like to think as my limitation is my ability to be a better basketball player than most of the players on the court. Today was a little bit of a different day. During the first game, we won. I think it was one shot, and I made it. But I tried not to take the shot. The second game, I took a couple shots, and I think I made one. And then the third game, because the way it works on the court is you play until you lose. By the third game, I was at the 3-point line. For those that know basketball, you score 3 points, and I shot the ball. It's a farther ball. And so I shot it and made it because the guy like, hey, go shoot it. And I'm like, thinking that's my limitation. But I shot it, and then I shot it 3 more times and made 4 3-pointers during the game. And we won the game. And honestly, I was pushing my limitations because I'm not normally a scorer, and I didn't even shoot any 3-pointers before we even started playing the game. Therefore, the likelihood of me shooting and scoring was, quote, my superhuman trait for the day. So that's just an example of something I'm not generally very good at. I try to be somebody that just distributes the ball, gets rebounds, and maybe scores one time. So that was abnormal for me. But the key part of that I want to implore is I had to have confidence in myself. I had to have confidence in the shot. I know that I'm not the greatest shot. I'm not the greatest dribbler. I'm not going to be the one that shoots the ball all the time. And I realized that when I try to create a path to make a shot, I've got to have confidence, because when I don't think I'm going to make the shot, generally, I don't make the shot. And that is why I want to think about all the listeners out there. As you listen to this, think about what is something you like to do, but you're not very good at it. Maybe it's a work activity. It's something you enjoy doing as a hobby, or it's something as a parent. You realize I'm not the greatest at doing this when it comes to, my kids or my spouse, whatever it may be. But you take that one thing. If that's something you really think you need to work on, then make progress on it. Show that the willingness that you're willing to learn new things. And that is another part of having a superhuman trait, is having the willingness to try new things, to be able to say, this is something, regardless of what age I am, I can get better. I can improve. I enjoy doing it. Because if you don't enjoy doing it, and you're doing it because you have to, then it's not going to be something you're going to want to progress for a long period of time. We've talked about New Year's resolutions on our last episode. We talked about those that maybe gave up after a certain point, and because why? They didn't enjoy it. And that is why you have to find something that you enjoy, that you're going to continue to progress at and be better. But how do you do that? How do you train yourself to be able to understand your limitations? Understand that you have to have confidence in yourself. Well, it's about preparing your mental capabilities as well. It's about the willingness to understand, as we talked earlier, you don't know what you don't know. So that's why you have to continue to reevaluate what you do know, progress, and be able to find a good middle ground that will help you succeed. So mental preparedness is the key. And I get it. Not everybody has the same mental capabilities, but everybody has the ability to learn new things and be able to take those small wins during those new things to help you feel good about what you are doing. Don't look at some task as overwhelming or something you want to do in life and you want to be really, really good at, but you're just starting. You want to play an instrument. Guess what? You first have to learn the chords. You have to learn, how to play, how to either strum or stroke the piano keys or whatever it is. You're not going to be able to play Beethoven, or you're not going to be able to play the drums, like a famous, drum person. You're going to have to start from scratch. And starting from scratch is developing the mental preparedness that I understand that I don't have the capabilities right now. I'm going to take the small wins. I'm going to prepare myself mentally, and I'm going to have confidence in what I'm doing. When I go back to the story of playing basketball, it's not because I'm better than anybody, because trust me, I'm probably the worst player on the court. But on a given day, I've got to be able to have that confidence to shoot the ball. And what was interesting is my teammates, they were like, shoot the ball. And I was very hesitant. And then I shot it and made it. My confidence got better. And that was the thing, is they had confidence in me. So then I was able to have confidence in myself. And that is why sometimes confidence is something you need triggered by somebody else. So believing in yourself will also be helpful if somebody believes in you. It's very similar to a parent nurturing their child, having that confidence, promoting their well-being, giving them the platform to be able to succeed or fail. And it was interesting. Yesterday, my son was at baseball practice, and it's his 5th year in Little League. And it was interesting because the coaches were there introducing themselves, introducing the team, and then they talked about what they valued within the teaching of the kids and their new skills. And the coach had stated that his team won the championship last year. But what he was looking for in each player during what they call a draft to determine what players each team wants, he said, I am looking for kids that are coachable. Maybe they're not the best players, but they have the ability to be able to improve their skills because they put effort in it, they try, they hustle. And I really appreciated hearing that, because he's going to develop a program that will give the child confidence, will help them develop a skill, and ultimately help them be a better player by the second half of the season when all the games do count. And then they will try to progress towards making another championship run. And for me, that really resonated. So today, when I'm talking to you about having confidence in yourself, having confidence from other people to you, that is a big part of being mentally aware, building that mental strength, having those superhero traits where we can go beyond what our limitations are. We have so many limitations. Don't even get me started on mine. I always say the greatest experience is your own. So hence this podcast. I've failed so many times in life, and I would have never imagined that I would have a platform to be able to talk about these sort of things, to be able to publish a book, and to do the things that I wanted to do and help others be able to do the things they want to do. And how did that all happen? Because when I was a child, I had teachers believe in me before I believed in myself. I never thought I was capable of anything beyond just doing the normal day-to-day task. And now, as listeners of this podcast, I can tell you, you're already one step up from the normal person. Why? Because you're about improving yourself. You're about looking at what is ahead and determining what is the best way that I can succeed. What is the best way when opportunity knocks? How am I going to take that opportunity and run with it? It's that fear versus that flight method. So basically, do you run towards the burning building when you're scared? Or do you run away from that burning building when you're scared? And we're all built differently. We all have that different makeup that will differentiate what our actions would be. And that is okay. But as listeners of this podcast, I can almost guarantee that you are looking for something bigger and better. And I hope to be able to continue to share this with you each and every week as you listen. And think about when you're evaluating what you want to do next. You're preparing yourself mentally. You're finding alternatives to a problem. That is another superhero trait. When there's a problem, what do? Do you just ask somebody else how to solve it? Or do you try to get to the root of the problem, remove the barriers, and then find the actions to implement to solve the problem? I'm going to bet that each and every one of you are more likely to remove the barriers, find a solution, implement to solve that problem. And that is a superhero trait. Believing in yourself, confidence, learning new things, realizing opportunities when they are upon you. I always like to say, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Why? Because when an opportunity comes, sometimes it's luck. It comes out of nowhere. But it's that opportunity that allows you to determine, what am I going to do? Am I going to run away? Or am I going to stick around and fight this battle till I win? And that is what I believe each and every one of you would do. And then when you have your limits, it's okay. We all do. We have the ability to get past those limits. And we do that by taking one task at a time. There's a statement out there. How do you eat an elephant? What do you mean, how do you eat an elephant? You can't eat an elephant. Of course not. Well, eating an elephant is simple. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. And that's the same thing with a challenge, a problem. You take those small wins, and those wins will project you to the ability to continue to move forward, be successful, and look past the barriers. That is the key part of life, is look past the barriers, improve yourself, find the energy. Granted, yes, sometimes that is the kryptonite of our superhuman trait. Superhero, superhuman, they're interchangeable, but that is the key thing right there. Find the energy. If you have that energy, you can do all of these things. Don't let the lack of energy be our kryptonite. Our kryptonite is something that takes away our superhero traits. And that's why I like to use they call it GBD. Get bleep done. GBD. Get bleep done. So it's important that no matter what you do, keep progressing forward and you will be successful. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you that have listened. We have 165 previous episodes. So if this is your first episode, welcome. I like to use personal experience. I like to talk about the family because this is a day-to-day normal life. Being a dad, being a spouse, and this is part of growing up and being the best person we can be within our life. So I'm happy to share a little bit about me, but I always want to make sure it's about you. That's why we do this podcast. This is your motivational Gen Z and Millennial Expert podcast. Thank you. Take care. And I cannot wait to see you next week. Stay tuned. Take care. Bye-bye.